Hey guys, if you're one of those people who thinks that offal is awful, then this video is not for you. But I actually, David's giving me a look at that really bad joke. Offal, organ meats, F-F-A-L. This is a recipe for pate, which sounds a little better than just liver. And it isn't just liver. I figured out how to make a really yummy pate. I do a combination of either crispy bacon or pork belly, and I'll show you exactly how I do it. So I start with chicken livers, and this is kind of a standard in our area. They're in the freezer. If you can find them fresh, that's fantastic. This is about 20 ounces. Some containers are smaller than that. They are, at our stores are usually kept frozen. I happened to find these fresh, and they were on a special for 95 cents. So liver is going to be really inexpensive if you're on a budget, and it's really nice and nutrient dense. So once these are thawed, I put them in a colander to drain off any of the liquid that's stored with them. So once they're drained, I kind of drain them, set them aside, and I get a skillet. And in my skillet, I put fairly thick sliced bacon or my slices of pork belly, and I fry it up pretty crispy. Now the bacon fries better, it gets crispier if I cut it in smaller pieces. So instead of doing the full length of bacon, I generally cut it up in fairly 2-3 inch pieces and then fry it. Once the bacon is crispy, I take the bacon and put it into my food processor. Throw it in the food processor, leave the bacon fat in the pan. Then you're gonna fry the chicken livers in that same skillet in the bacon fat. You're gonna fry them on pretty high heat, medium high heat, depending on your cooktop. Fry them until they're nice and dark on both sides. When the liver is nice and dark, remove it from the heat. Put the liver and all of that delicious pork fat into the food processor. Now, how much bacon do you use? That depends. Grace and I have different tastes. I like more bacon. She likes a little less. So I would probably put 10 ounces of bacon or so, raw bacon, in my pork belly, pork belly with the pate. But Grace prefers about 4 to 6 ounces of bacon. So you can do it to your preference. Really, it doesn't have to be an exact science, but for Gracie, it's more 4 to 6 ounces of raw bacon, cooked crispy, and put into the liver pate. For me, it's more 8 to 10 ounces, if not more, of the pork belly or the bacon. And smoked pork belly gives it an even more incredible flavor. So once you get everything into your food processor, you can add some herbs to it. I like to use some sage and some thyme and a little bit of garlic powder. Whether or not you need to add salt is going to depend on the bacon or the pork belly that you made. If the bacon's heavily salted or the pork belly's heavily salted, then you probably don't need to add salt, but you can taste to your preference. Some fresh cracked black pepper is also really nice to add in. So process that in your food processor, being sure to stop occasionally and scrape down the sides to make sure everything is smooth. And then you may have to add a little bit of chicken broth. I add 2 to 4 tablespoons, just depending. If I've used less bacon and I have less bacon fat, it may need a little more moisture. It might depend too on how well drained your livers were when you started. So usually 2-3 tablespoons of broth is plenty. You can find the recipe in this video, or go to my website and you can find the recipe for the chicken liver and pork belly, or chicken liver and bacon pate. Now, once I get it out, I like to put it in these little 4-ounce jars. And the reason I do that is because these freeze really well. So these are just 4-ounce glass jars. I put the lid on, put it in the freezer, because it will make a nice sized batch. Again, depending on what you've made, it makes at least 12 ounces. So you can do 3 of these jars. I usually actually get 4 because I put more pork belly or bacon in there. But you can put the lid on, put it in the freezer. I always label it. And then when you want some really delicious, nutrient dense pate, you can pull it out of the freezer. Now, what do you eat it on? A lot of people would eat pate on crackers. So if you go to the Diet Doctor website, there's a fantastic seed cracker recipe, so you can do that. I like to put a spoonful with my fresh eggs. So I scramble some eggs, put the pate there, and I think that's delicious. I think that bacon makes a fantastic dipper or cracker for the pate. So I have put it on either bacon or crisp little slab of pork belly. I've eaten it on that before. You can also use celery, you could use radish chips. It's actually pretty good with cucumber, or I have seen people eat it on cheese. So if you have a nice wedge of cheese, you can eat some of the pate with the cheese. You always have the option of eating it just with a spoon. So I hope that if you make bacon and chicken liver pate at your house, that you and your family will enjoy it too.